Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala ashrafil khalq wa azzil mursaleen. Siyama khatamihim wa afdalihim wa ahsanihim Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ala ahli baytihi tayyibin tahirin alladhina adhaba anhum ridsa wa taharahum tathira. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. We are now at lesson number 8. We are still discussing the tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha. And as we've said, there is no set syllabus, for example, so we do not follow a particular syllabus. There's also no time frame, meaning that we have to finish this in a particular time. No, we will try our best and, to the best of our ability to do it at our own leisure, in our own time, but every time bringing a small installment to the tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha. Obviously, Surah Al-Fatiha can never be explained in a 20 to 30 minutes. That is simply not possible. Okay, but inshallah, let us speak in this installment, we're going to speak more about the methodology or the methodologies that exist, just in a nutshell, and then bring it to you, to your attention, so that you are a bit more familiar with the various forms of tafsir. We have spoken the last time about Surah Al-Fatiha, and we were explaining Ihdina Siratul Mustaqim, Iyaka na'bud wa Iyaka nasta'in Siratal Ladhina. As you can see here, there's the definite particle, the alif and lam, or in English the path, meaning it is definite. So when Allah says guide us to the path is known, the path is definite, and that path is straight, mustaqim. It's not a zigzag and it's not a marathon effort, it is straight, as this even suggests. Iyaka na'bud, straight. That is the hasr there, that's the limitation there. Then Allah defines that path, the sirat of who? Alladhi, of those who have received, who have benefited already from His ni'mah. And then because of this positivity, then obviously you will stay away from anything that harms, anything that's against this path, غير المغضوب, anything that is against this path, you will have to stay away. And this is the world of duality. We will come back to that inshallah. Today we just want to speak about the manhaj, the various tafsir. In philosophy, for example, you have what is called a dhuhur al-basit and a dhuhur al-mu'aqqad. Dhuhur al-basit, basit means easy, very easy. An easy phenomena, if I can literally translate it. And this is a complex phenomena, a complex situation, and this is easy. For example, if I say أذهب إلى البحر في كل يوم, I am going to the ocean or to the sea every day. That is understood, okay? That is the dhuhur al-basit. It's easy. As the words is written here, and it has meaning, there is no external, there is no additional information, there is no external help to understand this. Adhab, I am going to the ocean every yawm, fi kulli yawm, every day. Okay? So this is understood even in English. This is what we call the dhuhur al-basit. We will come back to this, okay? Why this is important. Then we have the dhuhur al-mu'aqqad, a phenomena that is a bit complex, that is a bit complicated, that needs some external information, external help, additional information to make it understood. For example, let us use the same sentence. Adhab ila al-bahr, I'm going to the ocean every day and I'm listening to his hadith. Now, how's that possible? How does that make sense? I'm going every day to the ocean. That's understood. This part is understood. Because this sentence and this sentence share the same meaning until here. But then, وَأَسْتَمِعْ إِلَى الْحَدِيثِ, but I'm listening to his words, to his sayings. So, how does that make sense? I'm going to the sea, I'm going to the ocean every day, and I'm listening to his hadith, I'm listening to his sayings. Does that make sense? It can only make sense in the following situation. For example, I'm going to the ocean every day and I'm listening to his lectures, for example, his sayings. It might be even your professor, your teacher. So maybe the lectures happens near the sea or near the ocean, or the school or educational situation is most probably next to the beach. So here, because of the situation of it is at the beach and it seems there's teaching going on there, or sayings or gathering of people going on there, therefore you say وَأَسْتَمِعْ إِلَى حَدِيثِهِ. Now the second part of the sentence is not known in the first part. Here I'm going to let us look at the first part. I'm going to the ocean every day. That's understood. And listening to his speeches or to his sayings. That requires, in this second part here, there's another scene that's happening. Another set that's happening. But it is not mentioned here in the first part of the sentence. Only those who participate in listening, in attending that particular lecture will understand the sentence. I'm going to the ocean every day and I'm listening to his speeches or his sayings or his hadith or his lectures, for example. This is what is meaning. So that means there's teaching going on. Now this part here requires, if we take this scenario, number 1, and the scenario of number 2, number 1's people will not understand the second part, and I'm listening to his hadith or his sayings at the beach. Number 1's people will not understand this, and this requires, if we are here, extra information, additional information. And this is what we call the Hur al-Muaqqad. It's slightly a bit complex, slightly a bit complicated, because the set of teaching is not mentioned here. That being said, now let us look at the various forms of tafsir, because we deal with a book, the Holy Quran, that is revealed to the Holy Prophet, and some of it is easy understood. It's basit, it's easy. Some of the wordings is easy. But some requires some additional information, extra information. And that is what we call the Hur al-Muaqqad. So let us look at here. We have Tafsirul Lafz. What is Tafsirul Lafz? Tafsirul Lafz is the words of the Holy Quran, or the sentence of each ayah, as the word is revealed and as the word is in the ayah, that's the meaning. There's no other meaning to it, because that's the meaning. Very important also. Quran was revealed in Arabic mainly to the Bedouins, they're in the desert, mainly. Allah cannot speak a language the people do not understand. Meaning Allah used the Arabic which was understood by the people. So Allah had to convey concepts, convey thoughts by virtue of Arabic so that the people understand. Okay, so that's the one part of it. Then also there is some very dhuhur al-mu'aqqad, very difficult things which is mentioned in the Holy Quran but requires additional information, additional understandings, if I can say so. A different set, for example, and we will mention that. So when we speak about tafsir al-lafz, Allah wants you to understand what He just said in a particular ayah, how it is understood in the language. Simple. Okay? But then, if we look at, for example, tafsir al-ma'na, no, this one and this one seems to be the same. It is dhuhur al-mu'aqqad, is slightly a bit complicated. With tafsir al-ma'na, and we will explain to you now, this requires additional information. This requires additional, another set, which you, if I can say so. So this is tafsir al-lafz, as the words are, linguistically speaking, that is it. But with tafsir al-ma'na, you need misdaq al-khariji, you need an external manifestation of what is meant. You need extra information. And then it's also interesting what we have in Quran. Allah says, Allah knows the ta'wil. What is ta'wil? The meaning, the explanation. Okay? So when we have, for example, tafsir at-ta'wil, this is what is, this is the interpretation. Now let us look at tafsir bil-ra'i. We understood now tafsir in Quran, this word is mainly used ta'wil. So ta'wil is understood as tafsir al-ma'na, that extra information, that extra help. It's not so clear. Okay, you need to have more additional information in order to understand something. For example, Allah says, Yadullah fawqa aydihim. Allah's hand is above all hands. But then, Allah don't have a physical body. So how do we understand that? And yet Allah says, Laysa kamithlihi shay. There is none like unto Him. Or, walam yakul lahu kuf. And there is no example, there is no equal to Him. So when Allah says, Yadullah fawqa aydihim, Allah do not have a physical body. Meaning He has a limb also, which is His hands. A hand, symbol of what? Power, of His qudra. Of His qudra. So, Allah's qudra, Allah's strength, Allah's power is above all other powers. That Allah used, it is used, there is semantics involved there. For example, when I am saying, the Kremlin decided, or the White House decided, or for example, number 10 Downing Street decided. What is the Kremlin? It's that building. Or number 10 Downing Street is that building. Or the White House. It's not the White House that decided. No, that is used metaphorically. Metonymy. It is used metaphorically, symbolizing that building is the seat of power, is the seat of executive decision of the country. So we use that, for example, to say Washington decided, or number 10 Downing decided, or the Kremlin decided, for example, the same. It's not that building that decided, it's the people. But there's where they gathered, There's where they made the decision. So we use that as a symbol of power. The same. There's a lot of semantics in the language. A lot of semantics, and we need to understand semantics. Idiomatic expressions, for example. Beautiful, for example, prose and eloquence. This is all in the Quran. You know, as we've said, today's installment, we are speaking about the different methodologies. Okay? So let us come back here. When we have a tafsir al-ta'wil, this is actually tafsir al-ma'na. And then you have a very dangerous one, if I can say so already, and that is tafsir al-ra'i. What is tafsir al-ra'i? You have someone who reads Quran without any education, without any training, without understanding the Arabic language, or half understood it, for example, is not so well equipped with the sciences of allow him to understand the Quran in a reasonable, acceptable manner. No. He reads and he interprets Quran by his own ra'i, his own opinion, his own perception. And this is the dangerous one here. This is the dangerous one here. We will have to first go through a particular training and then stick to those rules within the ambit, within the framework of Islamic sciences. And once you've been trained in it, now you are in a position to interpret the Holy Quran, not based on your own ra'i, your own opinion. Okay, so let us look at, for example, the various forms, how Quran is interpreted. Right, tafsir can be then divided into two streams. The first is tafsir bil-aql, is tafsir which is based on aql, logic and reason. And that is, if you interpret Quran, you know, by virtue of logic and reason, and that's purely done by virtue of that, that's okay. Or kalamiyah, philosophy, etc. Or what you call ijtima'iyah, what you call sociology, for example. Then you have tafsir al-batiniyah, those people who went inwards, and they have that form of tafsir. And there you have a lot of Sufiyah, those forms of tafsir, like Ibn Arabi, for example, is one of them. The other one is Sadr al-Muta'allihin, for example, or Allama Sayyid Muhammad Tabatabai, the author of Al-Mizan. And then you have Al-Irfaniyah, like Imam Khomeini, for example, and that is all tafsir bil-aql, or the tafsir of inwardness. There is that esoteric interpretation, the metaphysical interpretation, the irfani or the Sufiya or the Batiniya interpretation. That's the one form, and there are various forms and various examples in our history in Islam where many of the Mufassirin have either adopted one of this or some of that in their tafsir. Then the other form of tafsir is tafsir bin naql. What is meant by tafsir bin naql means that it has been reported, it has been recorded. Okay, and we have firstly the major important one is tafsir al-Quran bil-Quran. The one ayah of the Holy Quran explains the other ayah of the Holy Quran. It is tafsir al-Quran bil-Quran. Okay, we have just given you an example. Allah don't have Yadullah, as Allah says, Yadullah fawqa aydihim, Allah's hand is above all hands, and that's not literal. That's not lughatan. That is not linguistically. There Allah don't use that method. Allah have used what here? Metonymy. Used, it's metaphorically stated for power. So it is tafsir al-Quran bil-Quran. Or then you have tafsir, and this is what we also have employed by virtue of the grammar, the prose, the balagha, etc. And then here, the last one here is some ahadith or some riwayat explains an ayah further. Allah says something, but then we have ahadith of Anbiya or A'imma alayhimus salam or Ma'asumin alayhimus salam, where they have explained certain phenomena in the Holy Quran. So that in essence is the various methodologies of the tafsir of the Holy Quran. Then another important one, and that is what we call al-Isra'iliyat fil Quran. There is a lot of, if we can say so, if we can say so, Judeo-Christian understandings or interpretations of the Holy Quran. For example, Allah created the heavens and earth in 6 days, in 6 24-hour days. And we obviously know by now that is a problem. So we need to understand it's not a Judeo-Christian interpretation, and that is what is meant by al-Isra'iliyat, Israeli interpretation, or Jewish interpretation, or Judeo-Christian interpretation of the Holy Quran. No. It could not have been in 6 earth 24-hour days, the creation of this universe, we know obviously. So we need to go back to the Holy Quran, we need to go back to Arabic at the time when the Quran was revealed and understand the meaning of the name Yawm. Yawm means literally a day. But what was its original meaning? Not a 24-hour day, but a period of time. Or it can also be interpreted certain levels or certain stages. So it is 6 stages, 6 levels, etc. and not necessarily a 24-hour day. So this is what we call a tafsir al-mu'aqqad. The tafsir is a bit complicated, a bit complex because you need extra information. With this being said, we will continue the next installment inshallah by always referring to this information which we gave today, and then we will continue with the tafsir, the actual tafsir of the Holy Quran. Today we just explained it, the various forms of tafsir and how things is understood. This is not only in Arabic, this is even in English or even in our day-to-day lives. Sometimes we say things, but the other people do not know the context. Very important. The context in which you are saying something, they understand something and you understand it, but then when you convey the message, they have a completely different understanding. Or for example, there's an accident, there's 40 people who've witnessed the accident, you will most probably going to have 40 different versions of that same incident. And this is the problem. Therefore, we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla Sha'na to bring us close to what He intended, what is the meanings of the Holy Quran, to open up our hearts, what He wants us to know, what He wants us to understand. And Allah is the Hadi, Allah is the guide. Let Allah be our guide when it comes to the Holy Quran. And we ask Iyaka, and we ask you, O Allah, and nu'allimuna, that you should teach us. And we ask you, wa Iyaka nasta'in, and we ask you, O Allah, for help in this case of the Holy Quran. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.